All righty. Just checking to see if Tamara's on here. Jules, we might, oh, she is here. Okay, good. All right, so real quick, wanted to give everybody a quick update. We have a team reset page that's called, like, I think 3-day reset, trust your gut. And so what I'm trying to do is I'm trying to update it every week. Like, so every day for the week, I am putting content in there. So hopefully that will help people feel like they have accountability and people are rooting for them and cheering them on. And then the goal is to go in every Friday night or Saturday and delete out all of the posts. And then we'll start back up again on Sundays. So like the reset time to do, reset that I have on the page is Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. So if you are not in that group yet, and you would like to be, or you have people who are buying the reset welcome pack from you, get them plugged into that group. And if there are areas that you feel like, hey, this maybe could be, maybe we could have some changes here, or maybe we could add this, and please let me know. I want to make this really good for our team and for our people. I want everyone to feel very supported during these 3-day resets. Who all has done the reset? Raise your hand. Yeah, I'm going to go to the next page so I can see. Awesome. Has it been good? Have you guys enjoyed the reset? Drop in the comments some of the results that you've seen. I'm on my day 2. And I just weighed myself and I'm down 3.8 pounds, and I had lost 4.5 pounds on the last one. Feeling really, really good. Yay, Kara, we're on the same day 2. Awesome. Okay. All right, Tamara, are you on here? Okay, well, we wait for Tamara. Also, the Jewels are heading to Hawaii this week. We're so incredibly excited. So make sure that you are watching the Jewels that are going this week and start dreaming big, because this is a goal. This is a trip that anybody can earn. And I would love, love, love to have more of our team there with us next year. And so that means getting to Emerald by July 31st. And that sounds like, oh gosh, that's such a hefty goal. But here's the thing. How do you eat an elephant? One bite at a time. Don't get overwhelmed with, okay, I have this huge gnarly goal. This is paralyzing me. I don't think I can get there. I'm at gold. There's no way I can get to Emerald by this time. Stop doing that and just start getting into daily action every single day with those non-negotiables, with the high 5 form that we have. If you have no idea what I'm talking about, reach out to me, reach out to your upline, and we will help you in that. We want to have more people succeed. Okay, Tamara?
Hey.
Yeah. Okay, she's there. Yay. All right. Well, as you guys saw, and as many of you know, Tamara is one of my dearest friends. She is my upline, the one that was so patient with me for 4 years and really taught me what it looks like to be a patient-driven, hardworking visionary of a business owner. She not only has a double diamond household where she and her husband are both diamonds within the company. She's one of the top 5 highest paid ambassadors within Plexus. Hopefully that doesn't embarrass you, but I think it's really important for people to kind of have the groundwork laid so they understand, like, this woman knows what she's talking about. And the thing that I love, I mean, I love many things about Tamara, but one of the things I love so much about Tamara is that she's relatable. She's not salesy. She loves people. She oftentimes doesn't have any makeup on and has her hair in a bun, and she's getting work done. That's the type of person I want to be around. I want to be around and led by somebody that I know loves me and loves the Lord and loves their family and is passionate about Plexus. And that's what Tamara, that's who she is. And so we are in for a major treat tonight. So I encourage you, get out your pen and your paper and start taking notes. Tamara, take it away.
Okay. Well, first of all, you were a little too generous with most of the time I don't have makeup on and a messy bun. It's pretty much like 99% of the time. I did brush my hair tonight and put on a little headband for you guys, so that you know that occasionally I show up with something other than homelessness. Emily and I Marco Polo all the time. And I'm always like, you're so beautiful. Like, you're so beautiful. And she inspires me to go put on some cute earrings and like maybe put my hair down. Emily, thank you for that sweet, sweet introduction. I'm so happy to be here with y'all. You guys are so special to me. I know many, I was just scrolling through all the names. I know many of you personally and adore you so much. And for those that I don't know as well, I want to know you. I love my team. I am constantly reminded, even 9 years in, just how blessed I am with passionate, compassionate, loving, encouraging women. I feel like we are surrounded by them. And that just, it brings me so much joy because we are all building a community and a culture of like-minded women and some men. And what a joy that is to be partnering with people in life and in business. I can't think of much better than to be doing business alongside incredible people. There's just really nothing like it. So a lot of you know my story. And when Emily and I were kind of talking back and forth about what I might share, I didn't want to go too deep into my story and take up too much time there. So I'm going to give a really small snippet for some of you that don't know me as well. If you want to hear more about that, you can either watch my Diamond documentary or you can just message me personally and I will leave you a couple voice messages and tell you more. So feel free to do that. My inbox is always open. I hope you guys know that. So a real quick snippet. I was very skeptical of network marketing because I had done network marketing in the past. I was with a skincare company that actually had fabulous products. So it wasn't the products. I actually still like some of their products today, but their compensation plan was structured in a way that was very hard to actually build residual income. So after 2 years, I had built up to the second rank in the company. Okay. And I was making around $1,500 to $2,000 a month, which I was ecstatic about. I got pregnant. I got very sick with my first daughter, and I basically couldn't hardly do anything in my business. And I went from $1,500-ish a month to zero, literally zero in under 6 months. And so my thought around network marketing is two things. One, it only works for the lucky few. And two, I just don't really have what it takes to be successful in this type of business. And I was very pained by it because I felt like I had given a lot, saw some results, but not the results that really built that like solid foundation of a business. Because I thought, well, good gracious, if I pull back at all, like I lose everything. And so when Plexus was kind of coming past my eyeballs through social media, basically. And I found out it was network marketing. I was a little skeptical just in the sense of like, oh, it's another network marketing company. Like, well, just let me dig into this. But the weight loss testimonies, which is what I was searching for at the time, were very powerful. And so I just kept reading and kept watching and kept Googling and kept asking questions to random strangers. And the more I learned about the products, still skeptical, yes, but also there was some hope and excitement. So I did finally end up ordering. I did have very quick success on the products. I was losing weight. I was no longer eating chocolate chip cookie dough ice cream at 10 p.m. at night while my husband was off studying. He was in full-time school to become a physician assistant, and I had one child. So basically I was a single mother for a couple of years. And I was really excited about that. I was like, I don't want ice cream at 10 o'clock in the morning anymore while I'm binging Netflix. This is awesome. And then my headaches got better. I was a chronic migraine sufferer, you guys, chronic migraine sufferer. And I had not had a headache in like 3 weeks. And so at that point, like my belief was building about the products, although I was still over here like going, this is network marketing. But I remember just a tiny spark of hope, like, So I started sharing just a little bit about my experience, about other testimonies I had seen. And I got a paycheck, my first paycheck, and it was $240. I was very excited about that. So that is when I studied the compensation plan. And I do kind of consider myself like a business-minded numbers type person. And so when I actually looked at it and figured out how I made the money, I was going, oh, well, there might be something different to this comp plan. This is structured so different, so different. You mean I don't have to buy $500 worth of products every month just to like have the potential to even maintain my rank? I just kept digging and thought, this is unique. And so I jumped in and I started working my business. The very first thing I did was make a list. I remember going to a public library, y'all, with a yellow legal pad. Y'all remember those? I don't even know if they sell those anymore. And making my list. I mean, I was going through yearbooks. I was going through Facebook. I was looking on MySpace. Good Lord. I mean, like, I was trying to find any names I could of people that I could friend and to start building my connection. And I also started making new connections. I started getting on yard sale sites, network marketing sites, and building relationships and then friending those people. And I have one diamond from one of those network marketing sites that I befriended, and she ended up joining me. A little side note. So all that to say, I was very excited about Plexus, but what I want to focus on, so that's a little part of my story, but what I want to focus on is a few months into that story where I had gone gold in my business, but I was really the only person working the business. And I got very discouraged because in my mind, I thought, all right, I've added these 20 people. I'm going to get these people to silver. Before you know it, I'm going to be senior gold and then ruby. And I had big plans in my mind. But what was happening was no one was excited about Plexus as me. Anybody feel that? Anybody had someone that they're like thinking maybe this is going to be the person, and then they won't even post on social media, or you think this person has so much potential. I know they can be a jewel in this company, and you can't even get them to take the products for more than 30 days. We have all had situations like that. Well, I see some yeses coming in on the chat. So all that was kind of happening for me at the same time. And I was very discouraged. And here's a couple of truths I want you to hear. Number one, like Emily introduced me as, I'm a double diamond household, but I almost quit my business when I was a gold ambassador. And by almost, I meant I talked about it for a couple of weeks. I called my sponsor and said, I don't think I'm cut out for this. And as I dug deeper, actually, I remember my husband one time going, you sure are talking about this quitting a lot. Like, are you going to quit? Or are you going to like just quit talking about it? Like, what are you going to do? He's actually really kind, but he puts me in my place when I need to be. And so I really started digging deep, you guys. And I started asking myself, like, why was I wanting to quit? And what I really landed on was two things. One, I was working so hard and there was almost like a spirit of burnout on me. And I'm going to talk a little bit about how I overcame that. But it's because I had my focus in the wrong place. Okay. I wasn't focused on me growing my business and me pursuing my business. I was more focused on the people who I could not get to grow their business. And so I was holding myself back by looking at the wrong things instead of just looking forward at what Tamara could control, right? My messaging, my following up, my social media, my connections to other people. My focus was in the wrong place, and that was paralyzing me. Number two, as I dug deep, I realized that I was more afraid of failing, that I thought it'd just be easier to give up. It'd be easier to give up and quit than to keep trying and have hope for something and it never come to fruition. And so quitting can look like going inactive, like legit quitting. You're not ordering products anymore. You turn off your subscription. But what it usually looks like is the slow fade. Okay. And that is a form of quitting. And I have seen it in my business so often where you stop showing up for a team call. Oh, you'll catch the next one. You skip your social media post for 2 days. I'll get to it Monday. It's been a couple days. I'm going to enjoy the weekend. I'll get to it Monday. Well, you know what? I don't feel like doing book club. I'll do it next time. I'll do the next round. Accountability group, it was going good for a couple of days. Emily will probably do it again in 3 months. I'll do it then. It's a slow fade where you get further and further away from activity that keeps you grounded. Not all activity is going to show fruit the next day. Not all activity is going to show fruit the next month, sometimes not even 6 months. I mean, you guys heard Emily, 4 years. Now she's a diamond. She has a lot of points past diamond. She's on the advisory board. She has spoken at conventions. Like, she is a strong leader on my team and within this company. And that girl said no to me and wanted nothing to do with Plexus for years. Okay. So that shows you that the activity, and that's just one story, guys. I have other stories like that. They're not quite that dramatic. I mean, only Emily said no for 4 years, but I do have other stories where it was a year later. And I have another gal who was 2 years later, another one who was 8 months later for my initial contact. And she's also a diamond now, wanted nothing to do with Plexus. But I want you to keep those stories in mind when you think about, well, I feel like I'm doing everything I can. Like, I've reached out, I've posted on social media, I'm doing this, I'm doing that. I'm reading books. The fruit does not always come when we expect it to. And it doesn't always come quickly. And I wasn't planning on talking about this, but I just had the thought, isn't it kind of the same in our spiritual walk with the Lord? Like, you can be, I mean, for me, there was a long time in my spiritual life. Gosh, I hope I don't start crying, where I felt like I wasn't producing fruit. Like, I would look at my life and I'm thinking, man, I've been a believer for a while. Like, I'm in the word and I'm praying and I'm around other believers, but I feel like God is really distant. And as I continue to wake up in the morning and have my hot cup of black coffee and read the Bible and go through a study and continue praying and journaling, like, my heart started to change. And I started seeing where God had always been in my life, but the fruit was just now coming to fruition. And it is the same. Obviously, that is utmost of importance, but it's the same in our business. I know I've already said this. I won't say it one more time. We're not always going to see the fruit of our consistency and our activity right away, or next month, or 6 months. Praise the Lord. Sometimes we will, but not always. And so what is so important is, even in those times where you feel burnout, maybe your focus is on the wrong things, where you recognize that you're doing the slow fade, come out of that. Whenever I have a hard day in my business, I'll go ahead and tell y'all, I allow myself to have a couple hours of a pity party. Like, maybe something didn't pan out like I wanted to, and I just missed an incentive because I needed to add one more person. Or maybe someone told me, this happened to me a couple months ago, that they were going to order, and we'd had multiple time-consuming conversations, and then she decided she was going to try something else. And I'm like, what is happening? My follow-up was on point. I have had some lengthy conversations. I've been connecting with this girl. I have loved on this girl. And that disappointment would come when she decided not to order. So this is just small little examples, but you can have a pity party. I'm giving you permission to have some disappointment. That is okay. Just don't allow yourself to stay there, because that is when those fears start coming, that inactivity and that slow fade that starts coming. That's when your attitude starts changes. That's when you start focusing on the wrong things. When you allow yourself to stay in that place, you will get stuck. It is so much harder to come out of that if you allow yourself to stay that too long. One thing I wrote down was like learning how to rest in your activity instead of like avoiding activity. And so what I mean by that is like I said, allowing yourself a couple of hours or maybe, a few minutes to live in that disappointment, right? But then get back into that activity and find that place of rest and balance in your business so that you're not discouraged and that you're not in that stuck place, because you have to keep that activity going. Because honestly, you guys, activity for me has always been what sparks my motivation. Like, motivation comes from the action, not from trying to like conjure it up. You know what I mean? Like, you know how if you go, activity is the cure for most everything in your business. That is so true. And it's a lesson that I have learned over and over and over again in my business. So I just wanted to encourage you in that, to not allow yourself to stay in those hard places, to ask yourself those hard questions. If you're recognizing like, Lacey, am I in a slow fade? Like, am I avoiding the hard things? Am I slipping away here and there and telling myself I'm going to come back to it? And then you're seeing like your whole like it's a form of quitting. Like you're quitting that consistency and that solidity in your business. And so I just want to encourage you to really ask yourself those hard questions. And also, if you have ever micro quitting, that is actually a really good term. I'm going to jot that down when we get off this call. That's so true. Yes, micro quitting. And have y'all ever heard anyone talk about like activation energy? Any hands? Have you ever heard that? So basically, like it takes less energy when you're staying in activity, when you're inconsistent in activity versus like what we've been talking about. When you get in that slow fade process, you get inconsistent. It takes so much more effort to come back than if you never stop. I promise you, I have another lesson. One thing about being around for 9 years, I have learned these lessons. I have done these things, and then I've learned the lesson again. But these are things that I have really have helped me grow along the way and helped coach people along the way because I personally have been in those spots. So if you've ever thought about quitting or micro quitting, I want you to really dig deep and ask yourself why. If you've been in a season where it's felt a little slower, or you've been in a season where you felt like you have given it your all, focus on what you can control. Focus on what you can bring to the table day after day. Okay. And I jotted this down too, so I wouldn't forget. Because I don't know if y'all agree with this, but for me, like, time is what I want most in this life, but it also can be like what I use worst. And so if I don't have a plan to come into my day, it's probably not going to be managed very well. And so I wrote down like a daily workflow, and this may be something you already do, but if it sparks a new idea, great. Okay. So daily workflow, I put down personal income producing activity, your personal follow-ups, personal relationship and connection building, super important so that you're continuing to build those relationships. Three-way messages with new ambassadors, three-way messages like with your level one and someone new they have brought in on. I still do those with the people who put me in three-way chats because I'm wanting to give that second point of contact for belief building and encouragement. Leader check-ins. Do you have a list of all of your strongest leaders on your team, whether you're silver, gold, senior gold, or jewel, or do you have a list of your customers that you are checking in with weekly? Not that you're like, hoping you remember. My follow-up method used to be scrolling through Messenger and figuring out how long it'd been since I talked to Sarah and Emily. Like, no, you have to have some sort of system that's simple, so that you are making sure that you're doing check-ins with your leaders, check-ins with your customers, and check-ins with people that maybe aren't working the business. They may not be a leader right now, but you believe in them and you believe in the potential they have. And so you're continuing to build rapport with them. Teaching your team, whether you have 4 or 5 people on your team or 50, that you are teaching them. I don't mean you have to do a 20, 30-minute YouTube training video, but you're going to them and saying, hey, I just listened to this awesome podcast. I really took X, Y, and Z away. I would love for you to listen to this. I'll check back in with you in a couple of days because you're really going to get something from it. Teaching your team, showing them what you're doing. Social media content, creating of that, social media interaction, responding to your team in Messenger, text message, getting on the phone with them, just being connection. And then if you have your own team thread chats or team page, probably most of you don't have a team page, but like team chats, making sure you're engaging in those, that you're bringing value to those are super important. Yeah, that's probably it for now. That's a lot. I wrote down a couple more things, but I've been talking for 20 minutes and I wanted to give some time that if y'all had questions about some of the stuff I talked about, because I feel like I kind of did like big picture overview of that I would love for you to unmute and we can just have interaction back and forth.
If nobody says anything, go back to what you were going to say, like those pointers that you, or the points that you have written down to you. So valuable. And you guys, I did just put her link for her YouTube channel in the chat. So go and subscribe and just go and look at all of her videos. They're all so good, just like this. Anybody have any questions or thoughts that you want to bring up to Tam? Something too that that is super impressive with Tamara is that she's a really good leader developer. A lot of jewels only have like 1 or 2 level 1 jewels under them. And Tamara has how many? 7 level 1 jewels under you. So that's also an area that I know a lot of people struggle with the duplication. How do you find leaders? How do you grow leaders? And so she might be a really good person to ask your specific questions for too. Looks like you may have some questions in the comments, Tam.
Oh, let's look. Okay. What, Emily, can you read some of these? Okay, here. Okay, it's scrolling now. It was frozen. Sorry. What do you say to someone who struggles with being consistent? When your points went backwards, what helps you to move forward? I know backsliding has been a trend lately. Yes, what Kylie said. Jamie, I'm not sure what you mean by rest in action, not in what. So if you want to clarify that. What do you say to someone who struggles with being consistent? Well, if they're a leader, I probably more would want to ask Hannah like questions around that and like try to dig and get to the root of what is like causing the lack of consistency. And I'm trying to think like what would be a good question I ask? Like, let's say, because see here, okay. And maybe we can go offline here later and you can give me more details because I want to make sure I'm addressing like actually like what you're asking. But I'm thinking when you say someone that struggles with consistency, my first thought is it a struggle like with it, like making it a priority, or is it just not really a desire to pursue the business? Because I would approach those things very differently and how I would handle that. Emily, did you want to say something?
Well, I think that there are a few things like with consistency. I think it's important to be reflective. Maybe they just don't know what to do. Maybe they have really big goals and really big dreams, but they're like, I feel very overwhelmed and I don't know what to do. And so I think that that's where the questions come in play of we have to be holding their hand. And I know many of you know about this, but there's a really good pace form in Rising Jewels that has 3 different sections, 3 different paces that you can go off of as a leader when you are duplicating, when you're helping your people. So that way you're not here like, okay, I've got somebody eager and ready to go, but I have no idea what to do. There's a really good pace that has a great like system. And when we say system, I think people get really overwhelmed with that. But our system is we're reaching out to people, we're following up to people, we're sharing on social media, we're doing events for people, we're sharing resources with them. Like that's a system right there. And so I think you have to be reflective of, do they have the resources? Am I, as a leader, helping them, holding their hand and telling them what to do? And then if you are guiding them and they're listening and they're saying, okay, I'll do it, but they're not actually putting foot to action, then I think that it's important to like go back and bring it up again. Hey, Tamara, like I know that you talked with me about how you really want to pay off your husband's student debt and you were really excited about Plexus being the avenue to do that. Is that still something that you are wanting to do? And if they're like, yeah, I want to do it. Okay, well, here's what I'm saying. Like, I want you to do this by this time. And if they still don't, then I feel like it's important. Then at that point, you can be honest. It doesn't look like maybe this is the right timing for you, or maybe there's some hesitancy there. Can we talk through that? And if they're still not doing it, then I think that you need to start pouring your time, your valuable time, to those people who are getting into action.
Yes. So I mentioned at the beginning that one of the reasons that I I almost quit. And then other times when I've micro quit, I love that phrase now, like just pulled back. And when it was kind of in a spot of burnout was when I was trying to force people basically to do the work. And it was coming, I was working more out of like, not desperation necessarily, but my belief would be so strong in someone. So I was like pulling them and urging them and pushing them instead of kind of like having them with my hands open and leading them. And so that was a big shift for me when I realized I'm spending so much of my heart and my energy trying to lead this horse to water, but I can't make it drink, that I had to shift at that point and really focus on either the people who really did desire, and not just with their words, but I was seeing it in their actions, or putting my energy in building new relationships, and cultivating new connections to continue with that funnel in my business, people that maybe hadn't even joined me. And so again, it's shifting focus on what's a time suck and it's not life-giving if people are not meeting you. Something I have said so many times to people in my business is, I will run as fast as you want to run, or I will walk with you slowly. But I'm not going to try to run and like be waiting on you to catch up. And so, like Emily said, something I started implementing in my business in these type situations, Hannah, which again, I think you start out with questions. Maybe it's, Sally, you told me that you were so excited about making $1,000 a month. And, I know we've talked about like time priority and, having an issue, finding time to work. Could I help you figure out maybe a plan where we could just carve out like 2 hours a week to really work your business? And I'll help you prioritize what those things should look like. Like asking for permission almost to speak into those gaps and seeing if you can help them find like a pace that works for them while remaining consistent. And then the way that you solidify their seriousness is just like what Emily said. And this was one thing that changed a lot for me when I started doing this a few years back, was if I was hearing someone word service, I want to do this, I want to be a jewel, I want this, I want that. So I started giving them things like activities. Okay, I'm excited for you. All right. Okay. So this week, let's post about the business. Let's post about the products. Like I would come up with these things. And girl, you have got to watch this 10-minute training video on blah, blah, blah. It is so powerful. It is so good. And I'm going to check back in with you tomorrow. You think you can watch it tonight? Like giving them these tasks and giving them some time to complete them. And if they always have an excuse, if they always have oh, I couldn't get to it, oh, this or that, then that not that they won't ever be able to work their business or be all in, but that there's something holding them back. There's something that it's either not a priority, it's not something they truly desire, or like Emily said, maybe they're overwhelmed in something. And you as their leader, by asking those questions, maybe you can help figure out what's at the root and then help them overcome it. And then as you're trying to help them overcome, again, if they're not meeting you with those activities and those things that you're encouraging them in, not like you're handing them out homework, but you're encouraging them in these things to help them move forward. If they're not meeting you, then you realize you have a walker. You don't have a runner. And so don't keep trying to run and lose your breath and wear yourself out, because there is other runners out there that you have, that they just haven't reached their potential yet, or that you will find as you continue to cultivate and connect.
Can I interrupt on this too?
Yeah.
I think one of the things that was very impactful for me joining Tamara, because we all had, like for me, I had a ton of people that were doing plexus. I was seeing it all across the board. So I could have gone with anybody that I wanted to, but I chose Tamara because I saw that she was successful. And I saw that she was not waiting on me. So I think that there can be a management mode here when we're like trying to get people to come and do the business, because we're pouring all of our efforts into helping these people. And especially if they're not really moving, we're still like trying to drag them along. And then we are forsaking our personal business. And that was something kind of like dating, like kind of that game. Yeah. Tamara wasn't waiting for me. She messaged me for 4 years, but I saw she wasn't constantly in my inbox saying, hey, come do this, come do this, come do this. But I was attracted to her and her business and her leadership because I was seeing that she was growing in success. I was seeing that she was moving up the ranks and that she was getting her family out of this financial situation they had been in. So there was proof in the pudding. She wasn't just waiting for me. She was out going and getting other leaders. And so that is what is super important for us too. It's a beautiful balance that we have to be pursuing our personal business, also helping people rise up. But the thing that I'll say is the majority of my runners that I have, the majority of them, sure, maybe I went to them initially, reached out to them and poured belief into them, but the majority of them said they wanted to do the business because they were seeing that I was moving in success. They were seeing that I was able to pay for our family's house windows that were $7,000 with my Plexus paycheck. They were seeing that I was paying for our family's groceries. So it's like, it is extremely important. If you want to find leaders, you've got to show that you are a leader yourself and that you are serious about your business and that it's changing things for your families.
Yes. And another way to show your leadership, there's so many ways to show that. And it's not just like showing that you're ranking, showing what you can pay for with your paycheck, showing other people in your team ranking, sharing diamond documentaries. Those are all amazing things. But I think another thing is just like talking about a book study that you're doing with your team. Talk about an encouraging conversation and the culture of the team. Talking about friendships that you've built with, you don't have to use the word sidelines, but friendships that you've built from people who, you know, you're not making a dime off of, but they're genuine, authentic, loving relationships. Like that is showing people what Plexus is, where you're not actually talking about the business or the products, but you're talking about the culture. And you guys, I am seeing this more and more and more. There are so many women out there, men too, I'm sure, but I've heard it from women that are lonely and they do not feel like they have a place or a spot at the table. They feel alone. They don't feel like they've found their tribe. So showing people that you are inclusive and that you are welcoming people in, that is a part of this business. That is a part of Plexus that I don't think we show enough, and that people are going to be super drawn to. You're getting them away from some of those stigma that it's like, she's just trying to make a buck off of me. She's just trying to sell me on this ordering. Like get people as far away from that by also showing them, right? Like I get what I'm trying to say is in a tight little bow here is that those type of posts and sharing is going to draw people in a different way than just sharing about the business and the products. But you are still sharing about Plexus. You're just sharing about relationships and connection, and culture and community, which so many people need. And so think about that as a third aspect of what you need to be sharing about, not just products, not just business, not just paychecks. This is so much more than products and paychecks, right? This is about people. So there's your third P. So share about those things too. And I don't want to say I promise you, but I would almost guarantee you that it will help shift some thoughts about what they would be coming into as a customer or as an ambassador.
Totally. And it makes you more aware of the gift that you're in. It makes you thankful and grateful, and that spills over from you into other people. You want that for people.
Yeah.
Well, you guys, if you have any other questions, drop them in the chat or send them over to me or Tamara. And, you know, we used to do, Tamara, remember you used to come in December and we would do like an earned call in December with Tamara, like a Q&A with Tamara. And so maybe we can do that again as a special gift. But like I said, go and take a look at Tamara's YouTube channel. Send her a private message and tell her how amazing this training was and that she needs to start doing more of them. I've been telling her that for 18 months and she's not doing it. So tell her, fill up her inbox.
I was just going to say, Emily's been on me about making more training videos, which is why I think she's sending you to my YouTube channel.
She's good, you guys. We gained so much from her. This is so good. And this is just simple and basic, but this is what it takes to grow. So, Tamara, I love you forever. Thank you for being on. Thank you all for being on. If you are going to partake, if you're not going to do the slow fade and you're going to partake in the accountability group and in book study, stay on here. I'm going to stop the recording and we're going to spend about 10 minutes talking through accountability group and what that's going to look like. So I encourage you to make that commitment, even if you don't know what it is that we're talking about, stay on, make that commitment. Don't do the slow fade. You are fully capable and we're giving you resources here. Tamara, love you. Thank you for being on.
Thank you.